Welcome back, everyone. I'm the Bella Gamer, and Paizo is coming out swinging in 2024. It's going to be a huge year next year, and I think it only makes sense considering that all the changes that Paizo has gone through. They need something to get the players hyped, whether it's the remaster, some of the rebalancing when it comes to some of the classes, and of course, I'm sure by the title of this video, and you may have already seen in other sources, but Pathfinder is releasing 2 new classes into this whole spread next year. Now, this whole thing is predicated on a multi-product line of the War of the Immortals. There's going to be an adventure path, I bet. There's going to be a new book, which I honestly don't know what it's going to really be about, other than probably something related to the divine, which we are actually in sore need of, considering that there is Secrets of Magic, there's Dark Archives, which goes to the occult, and we had the Kineticist, which goes to Primal, so it only makes sense we lean towards the divine in this new year. And honestly, I'm only just realizing now that they've been doing this. They went Arcane into occult into Primal with their book releases. Of course, they had Guns and Gears, or Gears and Guns and Gears, I think, in between the Secrets of Magic and Dark Archive, but still, it's interesting that they've gone through all the traditions at this point, and it makes me really excited for what more they can bring out. Where Secrets of Magic could be the magic book, and the Dark Archive could be about the weird things. The Kineticist book, the Rage of Elements, is about the elements and the elemental planes. So I guess it's just time we have a talk about the gods. And a god is being killed in the next year, probably during the adventure path, which is pretty big. But I know you're all probably tired of the preamble. Let's talk about the 2 new classes coming to Pathfinder 2nd Edition. As well, after this video, I will be doing an in-depth review of each of the 2 classes and their playtest material, so I can give you a much more in-depth look at them. So be on the lookout for those videos. Easiest way to do that is to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and at the very least, you can leave me a like for doing all the effort. But let's go ahead and start off with the Animist. So the Animist is the 3rd, and I know I said there was only 1 class before. I missed Druid. I'm sorry. But Animist is the 3rd now Wisdom caster coming to the game, and the 3rd Divine caster coming to the game, if you don't count Champion's kind of minor spell casting, of course. And the really cool thing about the Animist is it's a very dynamic class that kind of gives you different bonuses based on a spirit that you kind of let take over your body. Now, while we don't know exactly if this is going to be feats that you take similar to how a monk uses stances, or these are going to be types of subclasses, one thing for sure is when you're using the Animist, you're going to be kind of taking on the tasks, the being a agent for different spirits throughout the world who do different things. For instance, one of the examples they give is to be an agent of the Steward of Stone and Fire. This will give your spellcasting a primal twist, whether it's giving you new primal abilities or maybe even having some focus spells that can enhance your spellcasting to give them primal effects. It does sound super interesting. But on top of that, there's also another one, the Witness of Ancient Battles, that shares with you their martial abilities that, well, I mean, it sounds like a caster that can kind of go a little bit gish, can kind of go a little bit into the martial realm, which I think is really cool. And not only that, but they stated specifically, and I'll read it from over here, players interested in playing a wise spellcaster who can change their abilities each day or even moment to moment based on the spiritual entities they align themselves with are going to enjoy the Animist, which is very interesting. It's similar to the Oracle in some ways. There's I think Ancient Memories is one of the curses that kind of lets a spirit take over you. And I guess I said take over earlier. It just says that you act as their agent and they share some of their knowledge and abilities with you. So it's not like you become possessed necessarily, but you do act as some kind of medium between the material plane and, I guess, the ethereal plane that these spirits would come through. In any regard, it's very interesting, and I don't think I mentioned this before, but both of these classes are going to tie in to the stuff coming up in the new adventure path. So the Animist is going to play a role, probably someone during your adventure who is going to share you ancient knowledge, as they kind of mentioned before. Overall, the Animist I'm very excited for. It sounds like a very dynamic caster that can add some flair to the somewhat limiting divine spell list, if I'm being honest. And honestly, having the ability to change how they're playing from moment to moment is actually really, really cool. The second class being released is the Exemplar, and it is really cool. It's also going to be Pathfinder 2E's first rare class. So this character can only be played with the GM's specific permission. Whether that means they'll be powerful or not, it's hard to say. I do think, like with most things when rare is attached to it, it is more of a lore thing. Because as the Exemplar, you essentially play a demigod, which is nuts when you think about it. You play a demigod similar to Cuchulainn or Maui or Hercules, you know, all of the standards. They're really, really cool. It is a charisma-based class, which some of you might be groaning at, oh, another martial that doesn't use strength or dex. And while I completely understand, I think it's going to be much more worth it this time around, especially because you get certain receptacles called icons, which you can put your divine spark into that give them special powers. And I think this is pretty much going to work similar to the Thaumaturge's little trinkets that they do. I forget what their name is at the moment. But you can put your spark into it and you can use its ability, and like as an action, you can swap into a different thing. So I think what this class is going to be based on is actually you spend an action to empower one of your icons, which are a list of items that you can pick from, and it does something special until you swap it to a different icon. I think that's really cool, and if it gives you lots of very cool abilities and powers, kind of like Hercules' club or Cuchulainn's spear, the Gay Bulg, there's so many really interesting ideas that can kind of come with this. There are also special things you can do. You can add special monikers kind of to your character as you live out the stories of prior, mythological figures and eventually write your own epithet. So the example they give here, and I'll look at over here, is as your power grows, you create your own epithet that defines your immortal legacy. Whether you become a cunning exemplar, restless as the tides and known to be a thief of moonlight, or a brave exemplar, peerless under heaven and destined to be the last ruler of an ancient kingdom, is up to you. So there's different types of exemplars. I'm assuming it's going to be brave, and I'm assuming the other one is going to be cunning, and then you're going to get special monikers under that give you certain abilities. And if you know mythology, like I know some of you out there do, especially Thief of Moonlight or the Peerless Under Heaven, are monikers that other characters like the Monkey King have. Not the Moonlight one, obviously, but Peerless Under Hunter, Sun Wukong, that is his moniker. So they're definitely taking from popular mythological figures. They even said as much in the newsletter that I received. And so this is going to be a class that's going to be very much, it's a martial class. You're going to have some special abilities. You're going to have some action that can kind of equip you for different modes, which I think is really, really cool. You're going to be a demigod, so you're going to have some connection to the divine, which is good from a narrative perspective. Overall, with a god dying, these two new classes, gods fighting over who's going to fill the new spot, and a demigod's fighting for that position as well, next year, the War of Immortals is going to be a big year for Pathfinder 2nd Edition. But that's going to be it for me. As I said before, stay tuned on the channel. I'm going to release the full in-depth look at the playtest material as soon as I get access to them, because no one gets access to them until tomorrow, or at least tomorrow from when I'm filming this. So today. So I will be releasing that material, and I'll give you my in-depth look using all the knowledge I've accumulated this far. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Good luck with your games. Leave the bad luck to me. And I'll see you all probably later today or tomorrow. Bye.